and I think it's great that there's more girls that are coming into the industry, or women I should probably say, as long as it's fairly, and it's because they're there doing that role because they're actually genuinely good enough to do that role.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Automotive Business Show. I'm Mackenzie and we're joined once again by Charlotte.
Hey.
Welcome back, didn't take long, only a couple
Obviously,
episodes.
Yeah.
As it's International Women's Day, we thought we'd, keeping on topic, have a discussion around it today. We work in the automotive industry quite a lot. Charlotte works in the automotive industry full time, and it's one of the industries probably most notorious for being, mostly male-dominated job roles.
Yeah.
So it's quite a good one for us to talk about, sort of, I guess, your experiences in the industry as a female, and also what we think we can do, or the industry can do, to also help bring more females into the automotive industry. So I'm going to start by shutting up and letting you kind of kick off with, I guess, your experiences of automotive industry so far.
Yeah, I think this is a really difficult
Well, actually,
topic.
sorry, context for everyone, you've been in the industry since pretty much, a very young age.
Yeah.
Maybe start from the beginning and go from
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I think as a topic, it's almost like a little bit of a difficult one to talk about, because I think I can only say that I've had really positive experiences in the industry. So I started in motorsport when I was 13. Raced karting, cars all throughout. Is super lucky. I think I'd be wrong to say that certain opportunities didn't arise because of my gender, because I know that they absolutely did. And I'm not sort of saying that's right or wrong either way, but of course if an opportunity is going to be presented to you, I think anyone would take it, regardless of whether they're a boy or a girl, or whatever they are at that point. I think but I
Have you got any examples of that against you?
Yeah, of course. Like if there was TV interviews, for example, I was racing at the London Cup, if I kind of go back to that, and it was quite a heavily televised race meeting at that point. I qualified really well, was doing really well, so I think, was it the gender thing at that point or not? Who knows? But
so your early experiences of automotive were very much motorsport first,
yes,
then,
motorsport,
as opposed to now.
And now in the industry, yeah. I was on Sky News, I was on GMTV, which is now Good Morning Britain. I was on every TV interview that was there, I featured in. And it, whereas with the other guys it was mixed up a little bit. So I was the only girl in that. Actually, I think there were 2 or 3 of us actually, but it just the way it worked out, I was in every single interview. So you could probably say that was definitely because of being a girl, but because I'm different. Is that a negative? No, because then that shows to younger girls that might have been watching, or maybe even older girls, or whoever it is, that they can get involved in the industry. So I think, it's, for me, it was a really positive experience. Of course, in motorsport you get beaten up a little bit, but I think anyone gets beaten up a little bit being a new person turning up to a race meeting. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure you can kind of vouch for that if you.
Oh yeah.
Whether it was a guy or a girl, I don't think you really care.
You get thick skin really quickly in the motorsport industry, and I think my experience of the motor trade is also quite similar. Particularly, shop floor, the banter and the jokes. You get a thick skin from it quite early on. So okay, actually I didn't even think about the motorsport angle as much, but that is very much the industry as well, isn't it? So do you think there was any unique challenges that you would face that men wouldn't in coming through that path?
Again, probably, but I'm not a guy, so I haven't lived the guys' experiences through there, so I can't say. I think for me, I'm very, very girly, so kind of rocking up and you've got a pink helmet, I've got glitter on it, I've got makeup on, I've got my eyelashes done, that kind of thing. Was there prejudgments? Absolutely. But on the flip side, again, just to kind of balance the argument, everyone judges everyone, unfortunately. So it doesn't matter where we are, what we're talking about at that point. You judge people. So I think maybe I was a little bit unfairly judged in that sense. But I wouldn't say necessarily all the time. But again, someone just rock up and think, oh God, who's she? When I was doing my driver coaching all the time at the tracks, I'd think, oh, I don't want the girl, and it's like, right, okay. And you saw that.
Well, I was working that day as well.
Situations, and that was quite hard to stomach, especially when I was like, okay, so your only reason that you don't want to sit in the car with me at that point is because I'm a girl. You haven't seen me drive, you haven't seen the other guys drive, you haven't seen what I'm like as a driver coach, you haven't seen your like. But again,
I think on that particular day there was a cultural issue based on
definitely.
where that person was from, and
it was absolutely it's a cultural, and that's a kind of a whole different avenue to go down, which I don't think we should go down. But at that point I was solely judged because of what I looked like and who I was. I think on the flip side, a more positive note, being in the automotive industry now, I think I get treated with respect, absolutely. And I've worked for two, I'm working for a global manufacturer at the moment. I've just come from another global manufacturer. I've only ever been treated with complete and utter respect from it, and I think it's great that there's more girls that are coming into the industry, or women I should probably say, as long as it's fairly, and it's because they're there doing that role because they're actually genuinely good enough to do that role.
I think that's exactly my views on this, and I'm glad we're now bringing it to the actual sort of automotive industry, motor trade, because I think that's where a lot of people that watch this probably will kind of sit and be from. But yeah, I totally agree. Like if I think the really important thing with all of this is, like you just said it, if somebody gets a job role, first of all, it absolutely has to be because they deserve that job role more than anyone else.
It's down to their skill set that they've got.
And I think that's where sometimes these things go a bit wrong, whether we're talking about equality in sexuality or ethnicity or gender. I think if somebody gets a job role just because somebody wants to show that they're hiring more of a certain person,
it's wrong.
That's wrong.
It's absolutely and I remember having a conversation with some ladies that worked for a certain group within the automotive industry, and they was like, they're doing a recruitment drive for managers, but they're only recruiting females. And I was like, A, is that legal if the job roles are there? And B, everyone's going to know that you've only got that role because potentially one of the reasons is because you're a female. That for me, that's not how I work. I've always been, whether a guy, girl, whatever, I couldn't care less. I've got that job because I was the best person for it, So, I think that's when it can go a bit too far. But, my message is that I would, love to see younger girls realising that you can absolutely go into the automotive industry at whatever role. It doesn't matter what it is. And you can be really successful, and you absolutely are treated with respect.
That's one of the things I actually wanted to go down that road of a little bit is if somebody is looking at the automotive industry, and again it goes back to, I think you want to be able to think, right, how can we actually make people right for the role, to bring females in, like I said, not just making a role for the person. How do we make them right for the role? What would you say then to someone who was sort of maybe finishing school, college, whatever, and they're that sort of age where they're thinking, should I go into the motor trade? Should I not? Should I do something else?
I think...
Where do they go? What do they do?
You've got to be really thick-skinned. If you want to be in the automotive industry, and more specifically you want to be in a showroom, you've got to be really thick-skinned. It's sales at the end of the day. You've got targets that you've got to meet. People are spending an awful lot of money, whether you're in premium or non-premium brand that you're buying. If someone's spending £10,000 or £100,000 or whatever, they're going to be demanding. So you've got to be thick-skinned because of that. You've got to be able to take banter. I think this whole thing that we pander around a lot of issues at the moment, someone might say something, it's not because they're being sexist or whatever it is, they're just having banter.
Whatever it is.
There absolutely is a line, and I think that's down to us or you or whoever it is to manage that and go, right, okay, I'm giving you a warning, you've crossed my boundary, we'll let that happen once, but it should never happen again. And absolutely, if it does continue to happen, then that's a different situation that needs to be dealt with.
Have you had experiences around that? I can think of a couple, but obviously we can't do all specific details, but
years and years
on that?
Years and years and years ago, and I think we can both sit here quite openly and say that I got told that I shouldn't be with you because it's affected my career. For what reason? And for me, that was actually when I went, right, okay, we now need to address this, and I took the appropriate channels to deal with that, because that was unfair and it was unjust. And I think speaks for yourself now of how we dealt with that one at the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, I think that was a bit almost unique of being a couple in
but
a job role, wasn't it, as well?
But yeah, sort of going back to it, I think, you know, for anyone that's going to start in the automotive industry, just enjoy it. You know, whether you start as a host or an apprentice technician or receptionist and whatever it may be, just get your foot in the door. It might not be that that's the correct route for you, but it gets you in there and it gets it exposed. You know, if you want to go and work for the head office of a manufacturer, absolutely keep looking at the job role, see what's there. You know, don't just say, oh, I'm just going to go and do that because it's easier. Keep pushing. And I think you can get as far in this industry as what you allow yourself to.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that, and it's almost sort of preaching patience in a way with that.
You
know, I think, something I noticed particularly is people that a lot of people want to jump into, you know, the best paying role, the best role, whatever, the top level roles of something with little to no experience, and you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Yeah.
And you have to be in and around the industry for a while. You have to be on those sort of frontline roles, those entry level roles to get a feel for it, almost like in the dirt a little bit and get a bit dirty and figure out what's going on, and then that helps you progress through the ranks and actually know. And I think actually successful people in the automotive industry generally that I know, the ones that are, you know, group directors and so on, or managers of UK manufacturers, they've usually started from somewhere low down and worked their way up.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works.
I think I heard this expression the other day and it sat really uncomfortably with me. And it was someone said, you know, we want to push girls away from girl roles. And I questioned that. I said, well, what do you mean is a girl role? And it was like hosting or being a receptionist. But for me, that's just a role. Okay, there's more women doing it, but actually that's a perfect role for someone to get their foot in the door, learn all the different avenues within that business, you know, whether it's at a head office or whether it's in a showroom, and go from there. If that's because that girl feels more comfortable doing that, what's to say that's the wrong route to take? I don't agree with pushing anyone away from certain roles. You know, it might be the same as saying, well, a guy goes down the being a apprentice technician route and then actually goes, I don't want to be a technician anymore, and goes into sales, because I've seen that happen. You know, so that really sat uncomfortably with me, because I think there's no such thing as a girl and guy role unless someone labels it like that. And I'd never seen those roles as gender specific until that person said it, and it actually come from a woman, which was more worrying.
Yeah, and I've seen women as well that almost fight against this type of stuff. It goes too far. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's managing expectations. If you're whoever it is working in the automotive industry, there is currently more guys than girls. Is that wrong? No, it's just how it is. Are manufacturers working to kind of balance that out? Absolutely. But if you, as my kind of like last ending statement would be, if you're someone that is just about to go into the automotive industry at the moment, be prepared to be sat having your lunch or in a boardroom meeting, whatever it is, and you probably are going to be representing the females as entirety. It's probably only going to be 2 or 3 of you within that business structure. Yeah. And that's how it is at the moment, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, as long as they're respectful and you do your job really well, then I just don't see what the problem is. I think it's more power to us, if anything.
I think it goes back to, let's encourage it, let's get people into the right roles, doing the right things. Because they're good enough.
Mentor people.
Let's not just create roles for them or whatever. I think that's a key thing. Another great thing for me with the industry as a whole is that actually it's an industry for anyone that's willing to work hard. You can come and join the automotive industry. If you're willing to graft, you're willing to work on the weekends, you're willing to get up early, get in, make the handovers, or talk to the customers, take them out test drive. You're willing to do all of that. You don't need to have a university degree to come into the industry. You can just graft, and that's a great plus for someone considering it for me. Yeah, I would say.
Definitely. I can speak for myself. I did a year at uni and I left, and it didn't do me any damage, and so I think absolutely. It's just as a whole, I think it's such a good industry. It's so exciting at the moment as well because of the way it's all changing.
So I guess the next question is, we're sort of saying, do we need to be doing this? I guess it doesn't. It certainly doesn't hurt to be bringing more women into the industry. What are the benefits of it? I certainly know from my experience in the training and development side of things, in training rooms quite often, not always, but quite often I find the women are more willing to listen, that there's a little bit less ego involved in sort of having to be like, I know that already. You know, they're actually willing to listen and take it in, and quite often by the end of a lot of courses they've learned more from an instructing on track point of view, and that's a bit different.
100% more easy.
You know, the amount of times I've been instructing a female driver out on a circuit, and then there's a group of guys in another car, and she starts off slower than them, and by the end we're overtaking them because she's listened to all of the instruction really, really well.
We can multitask.
What that means exactly as an industry level, I don't know, but I think there's got to be some benefits in having a better mix. Of both.
I think everyone's opinions that's what we need. Everyone's got different views. The way, you know, just because of genetics and science and psychology behind it, men think slightly differently to how women feel, think and feel, so vice versa. So I think it's all really important. It's all important kind of data as such to have and kind of drive it forward a little bit more. And I think maybe because of the way buying behaviour is changing as well, and maybe that's something we discuss, you know, in a bit, then I think it's all good, isn't it, really? I don't see anything negative with it.
Cool.
Power to the girls.
Power to the girls.
Spice Girls Union needs to come back again.
We could talk about tons of actual pioneers. I wanted to maybe get onto that, but I think we're kind of out of time. You know, Bertha Benz pioneering the motor car in the first place.
Absolutely.
I can't do an episode about banging the Mercedes-Benz drum at some point. So Bertha Benz is another story. Maybe look it up, because we're going to cut this podcast off now. But we do want to keep this conversation going on our social channels. You know, this goes out to YouTube, to LinkedIn. We put clips on Instagram and so on. So,
well, I'm doing a really exciting event in May, working
Let's
alongside.
Get this plug in there, then go for it.
Yeah, definitely. No, working alongside the 30% Automotive Club, which is about helping young girls coming into the automotive industry. So maybe once I've run that event and Volvo are sponsoring it, that maybe we can have a catch up after then, and you know, I'll probably realise that a career in teaching 14 and 15-year-olds is definitely a good one to swerve, but I think, you know, it'd be good to catch up then, because I would have spoken to the young girls and they would make me feel quite old. So,
and in the meantime, please keep this conversation going on our channels, like I say. Cool, well that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.